Well, Ken, we have a few different species of reptiles, and these three are actually causing a little trouble in Florida, aren't they?
They are the troublemakers. If you look at it from my way to my right, we got the Nile monitor, we got a green iguana, and we got a boa constrictor. The one I got, the Nile monitor, actually from the Africa, the Nile. This animal can grow about 9 feet long, 80 pounds.
Really?
And one of the problems they're doing in South Florida is that they're top of the food chain. They're fast, they're aggressive, they're carnivores, they're anything that come in their path. So to the ecosystem in Florida, that's a bad situation. When you got small alligators, you got birds, you got small mammals. You know, the snakes in Florida, they're a lot smaller. So this animal create a big damage. In the Tampa area, there's a big area that they actually trying to catch them because there's so many of them reproducing out there. That is amazing. You got to remember, Florida is like a natural tropical ecosystem.
Yeah.
That anything that can survive in a lot of weather, it'll survive here.
And it's ideal for reptiles.
Ideal for reptiles.
We need that warm weather.
Now the iguana is pretty little and looks cute and harmless. What kind of threats does it pose?
The iguana, being from Central America, South America, they're a big threat to Florida. This guy, he's kind of tame because he was born in captivity. We raise him to be tame. If you try to catch a wild iguana, you're gonna have a lot of problems. They can get 6 feet long. Wow. Their tail is massive. You get smacked to a tail, you're gonna hurt. They got their, the claws. You can see they can scratch it. They got nasty bite. Okay. Now, these guys, a lot of the big threats, they're plant eating. So, like in South America, you got the Everglades. You got a lot of mangroves. What happens? They eat all the flowers of the mangrove.
Okay.
There's no pollen. Mangroves can produce seeds, so mangroves won't reproduce.
Wow.
So now you start losing mangroves because of
And
iguanas.
that's a habitat.
And
Habitat. So their destruction of habitat, eating all the leaf of the plants that actually need to create the leaf to pollinate themselves and create seed to grow more. Okay?
And those are slow-growing plants anyway, correct?
Those are slow-growing plants. And not only the mangrove, all the other plants. Okay, they eat insects, so now they're eating the native insects, the good insects that actually help the nature out here. So they pose a big threat. They're destroying nests, they lay eggs, so the more you have, the less food for the native animals.
Right.
Okay, and that's one of the big threats. All these animals are the pet trade. People buy them, they don't want them, and they let them go. And that's a big thing. Okay?
And last but not least, the boa.
The boa is one of the big pet trades. People raise them in captivity. You can see this one's tame. This one used to be a pet. It came to the park because the owner didn't want them. So we kept them in for educational purpose, showing exotics here in Florida. If you look at this size of snake, look how huge she is.
Yeah.
There's not a snake in Florida, a native snake, that it'll be that big. This snake will eat rabbits. This snake will eat raccoons. This snake will eat opossums. So when you have a snake here in Florida that might eat mice and rats, this guy's eating big boys. So, don't mean they won't eat rats. They'll eat rats. How many rats this guy will eat in the wild? Plenty. You think the native, they're gonna have food for them? This guy's eating all the food source. They'll lay 60 eggs or more. So now when you have babies, you got a lot of babies. So they're out there eating, they're eating machines, okay? Taking territory, slowing all the habitat for all the other animals. And that's the same for those three animals. They're exotic. They should be where they belong, and not in our houses or in the Everglades. And the problem is they start migrating, okay? They're moving, they find them now in Orlando. They find an anaconda in Orlando last winter.
An anaconda?
Okay? Anaconda, okay? In the lake. They actually picked it up because it was so cold that she froze. She was lethargic because of the weather, and they were able to pick it up, and that's a good thing.
They released her back. Go tell your friends it was too cold.
Yeah,
Don't send anybody else up here.
They come back in, but they actually kept them in. But these animals create a big threat to the native wildlife.
Yeah.
Native wildlife have to compete with this more when there's so many of them and so less of ours. Ours so small and this guy's so big. How they're going to compete with that habitat, and it's really hard. So it's better if you don't know the pet, what you're getting into.
Yeah.
Don't buy it. People buy it because...
and research them. I mean, how long do these boas live? They can live 20 years or something.
Easy.
So you really, getting a pet is exciting, but you have to be a responsible pet owner. You have to research what you're getting, and you have to know that it's going to be 20 years in some cases that you're going to have this pet. You have to be able to afford to feed a pet this size, and I'm sure that factors in too. Once they get this size, it's probably expensive to feed them.
That's how you feed about a rabbit a week.
Yeah.
You make the math. If you got kids to feed. Do you want to feed a boa? You want to feed your kids? So
Right.
it's
Hopefully
you
they
gotta
choose
see
your
it.
kids.
This animals
Yeah.
will grow. If you got babies, do you think this animal make a great pet? And if you feel them right now, you can feel the power in that tail, how it wrap around you, okay? So imagine that around the neck, or the neck of a small child. Imagine this thing, you see me with gloves. That's because
Yes.
nobody in the right mind want to get bit by an out monitor. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they're all aggressive. Some people have them as pets and they're happy with their pet. But this guy, he's no pet. If he can, he'll rip you open, okay? And that's a nasty bite. Same thing with iguana. So even
But
though it
this
looks
is-
small and cutie,
And this is a good segment because it's something that people can directly change right now to make a difference so this stops happening, so these invasives stop spreading. Be a responsible pet owner and don't release pets into the wild, especially in Florida where they do really well.
and they do really well.